Hey guys, it's Steven here. So I guess I finally have to talk about yesterday. I didn't make a video last night because one, I was actually going out. I missed the last 20 minutes of the game because I had to go out to Nicola's mum's birthday party. And also because I don't tend to make videos a day or immediately after a defeat anyway, because I think they're quite emotional and quite reactionary, and I'd like to absorb it first a little bit and then think about it. And it was frustrating, let's be honest. But at least the whole unbeaten nonsense is kind of out the window now early on. And we are now only 1 point behind Liverpool. It was a frustrating game of football, one that we probably didn't deserve to win in the end, if we're being totally honest. I want to start by giving Chelsea loads of credit. I thought they were genuinely excellent. They were really solid, and apart from a few chances in the first half, we didn't really tend to create much. And for a team that creates and scores as many goals as we did, well, we have to give them some credit. Fair play to Sarri, fair play to Chelsea for their work rate. I don't think they were overly threatening, but they did a perfect kind of destruction job on us. They were just tight, they were organised, and then they were clinical when it mattered. The same couldn't be said for us in the end, I guess. And it was just a good, solid performance by them from a good, solid team. So I was expecting at some point we'd come unstuck. And I think the form in general was starting to point towards this. You kind of seen it coming. We've struggled recently in some games, not been the all-conquering machine that we have been, and maybe the signs of kind of lethargy and tiredness are starting to slowly find their way into our form. And we could see it about to happen, and we couldn't stop it, and Pep couldn't stop it. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes the games come too thick and fast. Sometimes there's too many injuries. Sometimes there's too many questions, and sometimes players, they just can't play at that high level. Sometimes you end up losing. And that's what happened. I can't really doubt the work rate of any of the players involved yesterday. They just looked a little bit lacking ideas, and given the fact we had no Sergio Aguero, given the fact that maybe we're starting to miss Kevin De Bruyne because of his second setback, players are starting to pick up injuries, players are starting to look a bit tired. David Silva, for example, in the second half, he looked fatigued. Then obviously he's got a little bit of a knock. They're starting to looking for a little bit of inspiration, and maybe Kevin De Bruyne coming back, maybe Sergio Aguero being there would have seen a different story entirely. I'm almost certain we would have been 1-up if Aguero was playing in the first half. The big chances falling to Sterling, which he couldn't take, and Sarri kind of dilly-dallying about in the area when he should have smacked it first time with his right foot. If those goals had gone in my opinion, that's a different story altogether. It's probably 2-0 Man City instead of 2-0 Chelsea, but it didn't happen, and typically Chelsea scored with their first shot of the game. I'm not going to rant and moan. Sometimes you've got to hold your hands up and go, fair play, they deserve that. But it is a bit frustrating, I'm not going to lie. It did feel like we lacked that cutting edge that we usually have, and it's rare that you say that about Manchester City, but that tends to be the result of a little bit of tiredness mentally and physically. In the second half as well, we struggled really to create anything. That sucker punch really hit home for us, and Pep looked a bit short of ideas. On some positive notes, it was nice to see Foden front on with 10 minutes to the end. Didn't really have anything to do, and he couldn't really do anything, but it was more the point that they 3-1 anyway. It's a win-win situation. It was nice to see him given a chance in an important game there where the game was still in balance, and if he'd done something great, if not, which he didn't, no one really blames him, but it was nice to see him get a chance there personally. I thought Sterling ran like as he always does. I thought he was probably almost liveliest attacker. Personally, I didn't really agree with the whole thing starting him through the middle. I'm kind of quite strong on that. I think you always have to play a player in their preferred position if you've got someone like Gabriel Jesus who could play there. Now, a lot of people aren't confident about Gabriel Jesus at the moment. I would say into that, he's 21 years old. His overall link-up play, I think, is pretty good, but he's just out of form. Now, a lot of people would have given up on Sterling 3 years ago, and look at the player he is now. I think with Gabriel Jesus, when he's got that much talent, we have to be patient with him. I can understand some frustration, but he's been so good about a year ago that I don't want to just give up on the play now personally. I would have started him versus Chelsea because I think in general he's more suited to that role. And Sterling, on the rare occasions he did go over towards Alonso, we had him on toast. He was beating him like that. But then he went back central and was a lot less effective basically. I wanted Sterling out wide, running at the fullback. So I wanted Sarri to have a better game than did, which didn't happen. And I wanted somewhere more comfortable in the middle. I don't think this false nine thing works for Sterling. You can't just take someone who scores goals out wide and presume they'll score goals in the centre. It's a very different kind of skill set in my personal opinion. The tap-ins at the back post Sterling is great at. Running at people directly Sterling's great at. But that leading the line thing, it's just so different. It's just a different skill set entirely. I don't think he was natural at it. I understand why I tried it, because maybe those three are more form than Gabriel Jesus, but to me it was square pegs and round holes, and it didn't really work. I think Morris had a pretty poor game. I understand why he left him on as long as he did, because he's the kind of person that can do something out of nothing, but it wasn't his game. It wasn't his day at all, and he wasn't the only player who didn't have a good day. Sarri didn't. I thought Fandino did well, but started to look a bit tired as well. Walker, to me, isn't a bad run of form at the moment. I would like to see Danilo get a few games now personally, because I think Walker's looking a little bit jaded, and Delph, he's not in his best run of form either. He's reliable, but it's sometimes you think we probably do need a new left back. For who is the replacement for Mendy or Delph, that's up to you to decide. But I do expect we'll bring someone in the summer on that front. But anyway, looking at the positives, we played Chelsea, Spurs, Liverpool and Arsenal all the way now. So we've only got United to come away out of the traditional big clubs, you know. Even though United are a mid-table team at the moment, they'll surely give us a stern test at Old Trafford. But then we've got the rest at home. So it was It was a frustrating game, but we're only 1 point now. Now Liverpool haven't got the easiest run of fixtures either. They've got United at home, they've got Wolves away, who obviously beat Chelsea recently, they've got Newcastle at home, then they've got Arsenal, and then they've got us. So that run of games is going to be really interesting. They're still top of the table after that, and fair play to them. But I think us at Etihad, if we're close enough, we should be able to beat them there, fingers crossed, and that could be an important game for us. But yeah, in general, it's frustrating, but sometimes it happens. Sometimes you just got to be the bigger person and go, they deserved it, they played better than us that day. There's no shame to be beaten by a Maurizio Sarri managed team, especially one with the players that Chelsea have got. They earned the points on the day and we weren't good enough, and you learn from that and you kick on, and I think we will kick on. Fingers crossed the Bruyne is back soon and Aguero, because I think we need them now. We need a bit of inspiration and we should be okay. But I'm not worried. I'm not overly concerned. We just have to learn from it. And I've got no doubt that Pep will get the players motivated again. Not that they weren't motivated, but he'll get them sharp again, I'm sure. And the one thing as well that I have to mention is the Sterling racist abuse. I can't believe in 2018 I have to talk about this on a video. It's absolutely disgusting behaviour. Firstly, I want to say, let's not tar all the Chelsea fans with the same brush, because I know some Chelsea fans and they're good, honest people who would never dare or dream of saying anything that abusive to another fellow human being. He's a human being. He's not just a footballer. He's a person with family, but it's still absolutely atrocious, and I'm glad that it looks like the club are going to take this seriously. Obviously it's been widely condemned on social media. What I don't get personally is that level of anger. I'm all for winding opposition players up, definitely. It's quite a lot of fun. I've sang "You Fat Bastard" to Wayne Rooney before, because who hasn't? But when it gets that level of when it gets that aggressive, what is wrong with these people? The anger, the hatred in their faces. Lads, he's just a footballer. Relax and calm down. It isn't that important. It's just a game of football. Piss him off, yeah, definitely go for it. I don't care, really. No, it's all a bit of fun on that. But when it gets to that level of hatred, it's just pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. And I do totally side with Raheem Sterling on this in terms of how he's pointed out the different press coverage that Phil Foden and Tosin Adarabioyo got when they bought their respective mothers' houses. That difference in tact of how they deal with the situation from the press, of course it creates a narrative. Of course it creates a story. And it's sad that so many muppets and so many sheep go along with this kind of decision just to hate Raheem Sterling. It reminded me when I went to the Burnley away game last season before last, and the Burnley fans were booing Raheem Sterling, and I'm thinking, why were they booing him? Because he left Liverpool? Why? What reason were they booing him? Or maybe it's because he was on the back pages all the time and had been fed this lie that he was a bad person and that he deserved this abuse. And there's 100% racial connotations to it. I'm sorry, but there just is. The idea that it isn't there, it plays into this idea of rich, young black men flaunting their money. And obviously, there's nothing a lot of Daily Mail readers hate more than that stereotype of person. Now, weirdly, I don't even think the people who are doing this are necessarily doing it for any other reason than just to get clicks out of it, which in this way is even worse. Like, I don't think they necessarily hate him because he's black, the reason they're doing it. I think they do it because they know it'll get more attention and clicks, and that's awful. In fact, in many ways it's even worse that they're doing it just to choose that because they know it'll get more attention. It's awful, it's disgusting, but what's worse about it is it's calculated. When this press pick on Raheem Sterling, they do it knowing fully well and it'll get more attention and it'll gather more clicks on their newspapers, and it's absolutely disgusting because it feeds into this negativity that doesn't affect Sterling only, it affects young black people, it affects young people of Asian descent. It just feeds into this whole horrible narrative against anyone who doesn't share the same colour of skin as we do as white people. It's awful. I just find it mad that we're having this conversation in 2018. It's absolutely crazy. I nearly forgot to mention this on the video, for being honest, because I was thinking purely about the football, but I can't not mention something this awful. Fingers crossed it's a bit of a wake up now. It's been discussed largely today on media, on all forms of social media, and on things like Sunday Supplement and so on. And I'm glad it is, because it needs to be addressed, and fair play to Raheem Sterling for standing up to it so vocally on Instagram, because the more we talk about these things, the more that this, I think it was Robbie Earle that said in the press today, this cancer, we can get to the bottom of it again. You can cure it, and I think a large part of the racism on the terraces in the 80s has disappeared, but like cancer, as Robbie Earle pointed out, it will come back again if you don't give it that attention. You have to keep checking up on it, because you have to nip it in the bud. 90% of football fans, maybe higher, 95 to 99% of football fans are good, honest people, and these 1% or the 5% or whatever it is, we can't let them be the ones that lead the narrative, because they're awful people, and we always have to stand up to this together, basically. But anyway, guys, that's just some thoughts on the game there, and also the Sterling situation. Football isn't as important as people make it out to be sometimes. It's fun, but when he lets hate get in the way of things like that, it isn't worth it. And also, once again, fair play to Chelsea on the day, who were a better team. Anyway, guys, this has been Stephen. If you don't watch my channels normally, subscribe and hit the like button. I don't usually wear a Christmas jumper, but I get a Christmas tree today, so I'm in a very good mood. Anyway, fingers crossed we'll bounce back soon. Fingers crossed Sterling can sit down with properly. In a bit.